Lewis Hamilton isn't just frustrated, he's hinting at something deeper, something hidden. In Montreal, he cracked the door open just a bit with one line that left fans and paddock insiders buzzing. "I wish I could tell you what's happening." What exactly is going on behind the scenes at Ferrari? Why is Hamilton already talking about foundational changes when he's barely halfway through his first season in red? Buckle up, because this isn't just about lap times. It's about a driver trying to shake up an empire from the inside. When a 7-time world champion switches teams, expectations skyrocket. But 10 races into 2025, Lewis Hamilton hasn't tasted the podium on a Sunday. Ferrari's SF25 simply hasn't delivered. But if you listen closely to Hamilton's latest comments, he's not just blaming the hardware. He's looking inward, not at himself, but at the system around him. "I don't know why we haven't been bringing upgrades," he admitted after the Canadian Grand Prix. "Hopefully we have one coming soon." But what followed was far more revealing. He shifted from talking about parts to talking about culture. "There's a lot of changes that we need in the system. I wish I could tell you what's happening." That's not frustration over a diffuser or a rear wing. That's frustration about how Ferrari operates, the communication, the decision-making, the mindset. This isn't the first time a non-Italian, non-Ferrari-raised driver has run into the infamous wall of red tape in Maranello. But Hamilton's tone feels different, more determined than disillusioned. He isn't just trying to survive the storm, he's trying to be the one who rebuilds the structure once it clears. Right now, Ferrari isn't fighting for titles. They're barely clinging to second in the constructors' standings. And McLaren is coming in hot. Hamilton, meanwhile, sits 6th in the championship, watching Leclerc rack up the podiums while his own Sundays are filled with misfires, missed calls, and, in Canada, even a run-in with a groundhog. But even as he trails Leclerc 8-1 in Grand Prix head-to-heads, Hamilton's bigger concern seems to be Ferrari's long-term vision. "My goal is to try and positively influence, try and get change so we can have long-term success." He's not throwing Fred Vasseur under the bus either. Quite the opposite. Hamilton made it clear. Fred's his guy. He's the reason Lewis is wearing red in the first place. And now, amidst swirling rumors that Vasseur's job is on the line, Hamilton's standing firm by his side. "I want Fred here. I do believe Fred is the person to take us to the top." But here's the tension. To back Fred means backing change, deep change. And Ferrari is not famous for patience or radical reinvention. Can Hamilton get them to shift their ways before time runs out? Can Vasseur survive long enough to lead that transformation? What happens when a 7-time world champion steps into one of the most iconic teams in F1 history, and it's nothing like he expected? Lewis Hamilton's debut season in red has been anything but smooth. And behind the scenes, he's not just driving the SF25, he's fighting to change it. Lewis Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari for nostalgia or scenery, he came to win. But halfway into his first season with the Scuderia, that mission feels stalled, and he's not hiding it anymore. While many expected a transition phase, Hamilton is making it crystal clear that he's not here to just adapt. Instead, he's been locked in a constant push and pull with Ferrari's engineering team, pushing them to rethink setups, strategies, even mindsets. They say, "This is how we always do it." I say, well, what if we tried something else? That single quote says everything. Hamilton's made a career out of outthinking, outdriving, and outworking the competition. But now the challenge is internal. Ferrari's development this season has flatlined. While other teams bring upgrades nearly every other race, Hamilton says the SF25 has looked the same for quite some time now. Same car, same results. And while he's trying to pull performance out of what he's been given, the reality is he needs more. A lot more. Let's talk numbers. Out of 10 Grand Prix, Hamilton's been outscored by his teammate Charles Leclerc in 7. Leclerc's sitting with 3 podiums. Hamilton, 0. That's not a stat you expect from one of the greatest to ever do it. Despite a strong qualifying showing in Canada, where he started ahead of Leclerc, race day told a familiar story. The Ferrari pace just wasn't there. Not against McLaren, not against Mercedes, and certainly not against Max Verstappen. Yet Hamilton insists progress is being made, slowly. Just incremental steps, he said. Bit by bit, we're making progress. But we need an upgrade. Badly. It's not just about lap times. Hamilton is also learning how Ferrari works behind the scenes, and it's different from what he's used to. At Mercedes, upgrades often came early and hard. At Ferrari, the season's been strangely quiet, and with this being the final year before a full rules reset in 2026, Hamilton already has one eye on the future. We need to build a car that can win next year. That's the priority now. But here's the real question. Will Ferrari move fast enough to meet Hamilton's expectations? Because one thing is clear. He didn't leave Mercedes to finish P5. Imagine switching to the most legendary team in F1 history and realizing you're not climbing the mountain, you're stuck halfway up it. That's the story Lewis Hamilton is quietly telling. And now the cracks are starting to show. When Lewis Hamilton signed with Ferrari, it was supposed to be seismic. The biggest name in modern Formula One joining the sport's most iconic team. But halfway through 2025, the shock isn't Ferrari's resurgence. It's their stagnation. And Hamilton? He's feeling it. His former teammate and longtime rival Nico Rosberg didn't sugarcoat it on air. According to him, Hamilton is growing more and more impatient. And it's not hard to see why. Despite some flashes of speed in sprint races, including a pole and win in China, Hamilton hasn't cracked the top 3 on a Sunday. 10 races in, not one podium. Meanwhile, Leclerc's been climbing the steps with 3 trophies already. Then came Canada, another tough race, another round of what-ifs, a hit from a groundhog, a brake issue, and a strategy that left him in traffic. And still, Hamilton clawed out a 6th-place finish. But that's not what he came to Ferrari for. He didn't sign on to salvage scraps. He came to compete for wins. The pressure is boiling at Ferrari, and not just under the hood. The team's last major upgrade of the season is set for Silverstone, Hamilton's home race, and everyone knows it's a make-or-break moment. Insiders are calling it the final shot before Ferrari shifts its full attention to 2026, a brand new era of regulations, codenamed Project 678. And Hamilton? He's already hinting that this year might be a write-off. They don't really talk about it much. I've been testing the upgrades in the sim, but I don't think it's going to be a lot. Translation? He's skeptical. And after back-to-back underwhelming weekends in Monaco and Spain, who can blame him? Meanwhile, behind the scenes, rumors are swirling. Reports in Italy suggest even team principal Fred Vasseur's job may be under review. The Ferrari camp is tense, and as Rosberg bluntly put it, that Silverstone upgrade has to work. Hamilton has always been patient, methodical, but 2025 is wearing him thin. He's not just asking for upgrades, he's demanding structural change. And if Ferrari wants to hold on to their superstar, they'll need to stop managing expectations and start delivering results.